Hello YouTube and welcome. Checkmate here, and this is going to be episode 14 in our Let's Play Kerbal Space Program series. And last episode we put relay networks around the moon. We used a couple of junk satellites that we had left over from doing contracts and repurposed those to use for our advantage. And we have these three here now in this orbit around the moon, equally distanced, 120 degrees apart, and they all have the same orbital period so that they'll stay in sync. And now in this episode we're going to do something similar. We're going to build a network around Minmus, but we don't have any satellites out there to work with, so we're going to have to send satellites out here and position them. Now this should be much easier. These are probes that are landed, so this should be much easier than doing the network around the moon, because we'll be able to insert them in an orbit where we want them and just drop them off one at a time. So we need to get a little research first. A couple of things we're going to need. I want to get these deployable solar panels for our new satellites we're going to build. And I want to get this precision engineering so I can get the next level of probe, because this one has, you can set prograde and retrograde hold with this one, so it's easier to pilot. So we're going to grab that, and that might be, let's see, no, I need it also, was it precision? Yeah, I need precision propulsion. To get that, I'm going to have to get this one, because I need these smaller fuel tanks. So let's grab this, and we'll grab this. And I was just looking with this one, we have the ant and the spark, and we're going to be using that also. So I think that's all we need. I'll show you. It says I have locked or invalid parts. I wonder what is missing. Not really sure what's missing. Let's see if it'll tell me. Small adapter, small mini short. Oh, I think that's the I could probably do without it, but I'll just go ahead and grab it. It's just the adapter that goes to the yeah, this here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get it, because in the interest of time I'm gonna just go ahead and load my build in here. I'll go over it. But here's what I came up with. So this has enough delta V to get us, this bottom stage gets us into orbit, and then we'll dump from here down. We'll separate this out, And then our next stage, we have this little spark engine here with just a big fuel tank. This gives us 2235 delta V, which is more than enough to get us out to an orbit of Minmus. And then once we get out there, so I have this hex probe. This is what's controlling our main delivery vessel here. And then on top I have 3 stacked satellites. Okay, and all you do, if you want to do that, you basically go to your fairing and you want to unlock this interstage nodes, and then that will allow you to stack on top of each other. So as for our satellites themselves, nothing fancy. It's we have another probe body, and we have the fuel. That's the fuel tank that I was needing, and we have these little ant engines. I think with the fuel that I have in it, I probably have about 150 or maybe 200 delta V, but I only need 5 or 10 delta V to position these once we drop them off where we want them. So that's our setup. I have a battery on here. I have deployable solar panels, and of course we have 2 of our relay antennas. So that's the setup. And again, I'm roughly copying the setup that Mike Aben has on his channel. So if you want to look at the build, if you want to look at some more detail on how to build this, he's got a couple of good videos on how to build these. But it's really not that difficult. Like I said, you just have to turn on that interstage nodes, and that allows you to stack things on top of it. So I have test flown this. I did put a reaction wheel here because the first time I flew it, once I turned the engine off, I lost control and it tipped over. So that's probably the only other thing I need to point out on this ship. Other than that, I think we're ready to launch. Now we are going to take a look at the position of, well, first of all, do I have any flags on here? We need to change this mission flag to our current. Okay, I'm going to save that, and we're going to go back out and take a look at the position of Minmus and try to launch on an inclination that closely resembles it. So let us line up the moon. Let's swing around this way. So we need to launch. I can launch to the north on this side, about where I'm at. Yeah, we're pretty close. We'll just fast forward a little bit. And we can just launch from the Kerbal Space Center here. Alright, should be good enough. I just want to double check. I need to launch north. So I need to make my heading about 84 degrees. Okay. let's get it into orbit. I do just want to double check the staging right quick. Yeah, we're good. Throttle up, SAS on, and lift off. Start tipping over just a little bit. Lock prograde. And I'm going to go ahead and clip here, and we will see you when I reach orbit around Kerbal. Alright, well, there's 92 by 91. We ended up with a heading of 86, so we're going to have to correct a couple of degrees on our inclination. But other than that, I actually I did fail the first launch. It rolled over on me. I don't know why. I think I tried to over adjust my heading when I was coming up, and I got out of alignment and it flipped over, so I did have to do one relaunch. But we're in orbit. Now let's see if we can correct this inclination. Before I do all that, I need to go ahead and expose these solar panels. And I guess we can go ahead and deploy that as well. Because my charge was going down a little bit there. And 6 degrees. Alright, let's see how that looks trying to get an encounter with Minmus. The moon might want to get in the way here. If I add a maneuver, I'm going to have to actually separate. I want to go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and separate this section out. Because it'll be easier. It's going to be longer burn, but it'll be easier to do it without having to separate mid-burn. Alright, now let's get back to this. Because we have plenty of fuel in that smaller engine, it takes longer. It has a lot less thrust. That's not a terrible encounter. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this burn, and then we'll correct this inclination here, and then we'll adjust our periapsis again. I'm just going to go ahead and take this for now. Alright, so here we are. And like I said, I want to correct this inclination first. So I'm going to go back to, just going to create a maneuver. Let's see, which direction do I want to go? So I'm going to go anti-normal. And I'm wanting to get mine just right above the orbit of Minmus there, so that should do. So we have to turn our thrust way down here. Not that much. There we go. Let's go with that. And I'm just going to go ahead. Not necessarily going to move to that maneuver. I just wanted to know which way to burn. Just gonna bring it down and touch the line just right there. Alright, and now we need to bring this in and need to see if that's gonna be prograde or retrograde. So we'll add a maneuver. It's probably gonna be retrograde. Let's see. Nope, prograde. And we're looking for 377 kilometers, 377 kilometers. Or as close as we can get to it. Alright, let's go with that. 377 points. If I can knock it down just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So that's pretty good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to warp out to here. And I'm going to set a maneuver node right at my periapsis to capture this orbit. Now the orbital period is going to be 12 hours. Okay, it's 2 days. And 1 day is 6 hours. So our orbital period is going to be 12 hours for our satellites. Now, so what I'm going to do, for my delivery orbit, I'm going to be bigger. I'm going to have a bigger orbit than 12 hours. I'm going to be 1/3 of an orbit larger. So I'm going to be 2 days and 4 hours. So that'll be 16 hours. So I'm going to have a 16-hour orbit. What that means is it's going to take me 33% longer to make my orbit than the satellite that I drop off. So I'm going to drop a satellite off. I will burn it into a 2-day period. And then our delivery vessel is going to take a 2-day and 4-hour trip around, so that when it gets back to here, the satellite that I dropped off will be 1/3 ahead of us. And then we'll drop off the second one and we'll take another lap, and when we come back around, drop the third one off. That should have all three of them more or less pretty close to 120 degrees out. So that's the idea here. That's what we're attempting to do. So I just want to look at my orientation real quick. Let's just go ahead and swing this around a little bit. I need to get that off of. Just to point these panels at the sun while we warp. And another thing I need to do before we get out there is Communitron antenna, or we're not going to have control of this vessel. Because these will not help us right now. They're not deployed. Let's turn on some lights. These should be blinking. There we go. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and warp to here. Uh-oh. I don't know why my electric charger dropped to 0. I guess we went through the shadow of Kerbal or something. But we're good now. It's always scary warping out. At least with a probe, because if it loses its... What? Okay. I got confused there for a minute. Alright, let us get a maneuver right on this. And I'm going to be looking at my period here more so than the actual orbit. That's 9 days. We're going to pull that into 2 days and 4 hours. Alright, and then also make sure that I've got these stacked on top of each other by adjusting the day. Wrong way. By doing this, my periapsis shouldn't change much, if any at all. That's pretty good. This is really the last burn we'll have to do with this particular. I'm going to stop it there. And then I'm going to turn the thrust down, back down to fine detail. Look for 2 days and 4 hours. Alright, let me go to 0.5. And get this exact. Alright, 2 days, 4 hours exactly. Alright, now we got to get busy here. What we want to do is I'm going to extend one of these antennas We're going to decouple this one. And we're going to just kind of move our ship out of the way a little bit here. Alright, and then I'm going to switch over to this other one here. Activate my engine. And I'm going to burn prograde with this one. Or retrograde, I'm sorry. And I'm going to slow this down to 2 days exactly. I gotta turn this down. There we go. 2 days, 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Let's deploy the rest of our solar panels and our other antenna. Alright, switch back to our delivery ship. And let us look at what we're doing here now. So I'm going to warp ahead. And we'll see the separation here in a second. So you got two vessels here. We're on the outside track, and by the time we get here, the one on the inside should be up around in this area, about a third of the way ahead of us. And then we'll get here, we'll do the exact same thing. We'll drop off the second one here, and then we'll take one more lap, drop the third one, and then we'll just burn this until it crashes into Minmus. I can set this as a target, and we can watch the phase angle. All right. And as this goes, so I'm 14 minutes from my periapsis. I'll speed up just a little bit here. We should see that number go back up to 120 because we're speeding up, and this one is slowing down because it's getting to its well, it's in a pretty much circular orbit, but we're going to be speeding up a little bit. And if I'm 1 degree off, I'm not real worried about 1 degree. This looks like we're going to be 1 degree off. So I'll wait about a minute, and I'll drop the second one off, and then we'll do it one more time. Thought we would have been a little closer than that. Alright, let's go ahead and activate the second one. I'm just deploying one antenna so that I don't lose control of it, because if I deploy it with no communications, then we won't be able to do anything with it. I think that might be the problem. I might have knocked it out of its orbit last time, just ever so slightly. Alright, switch to this one now. Activate this engine. Make sure we got some power here. Go ahead and extend everything. I want to go retrograde and slow down. Okay, this one's good to go. And then one more lap. And we'll drop our third one. Now I can correct these phase angles if I wanted to get it more in line, more on a 120 apart, but I think it's going to be fine 1 degree out. As long as they have the same period, they shouldn't really change much. And if it's 1 or 2 degrees out of sync, it'll, as long as they can still see each other and communicate. Just want to check. So we're 120.6 with this one. Or 119.7. So it's not terrible. It's within a degree. So that should be just fine. For what we're doing, it's fine. But this was much easier than the other way with the moon. Last one, deploy an antenna. And separate. I don't know if I mentioned, I've got these decouples thrust turned down to 0 so that they won't blow themselves. So it won't blow it out of the orbit. Alright, we'll switch to this one. Let's activate the engine. Deploy. extended time. We'll go retrograde. And go down 2 days. And there we are. Now I want to rename these. This is Minmus Relay 1. And this is Minmus Relay 2. That's the that's my deploy rocket. I can't see the other one. Let's just speed up time, get a little separation so I can see the other one. Oh, I already named that one. 1, 2, this one is 3. Relay 3. Alright, and now let's just take another look. So this is us. If we set 1 as a target, 120.3. If we set 2 as a target, 120.2. So that's not terrible. And then if we look at what we've done, this is what we've done. There's our relay network. So we can check that one off the list as well. I already updated the spreadsheet for the moon relay network, and now we can check off our Minmus relay network. So now that we have these in place, what I can do now, I can put a science, sort of a Skylab, do a science station in orbit around the moon and around Minmus, and then whenever we need to transmit the science, we won't have to worry if it's in range or not. We'll be able to transmit wherever we're at in our orbit. So that was really the main reason for doing this. We do have one more bit of business to attend to here. I want to just deorbit this into Minmus there. Make sure I got the right ship. I don't want to deorbit one of the satellites into it. I'm probably going to turn this back up. Just pull this down and get it out of the way. Let's get that periapsis right hitting the moon there, and that ought to do it. And notice we still had over 2,000 delta V. So you at, Minmus? I can't find the planet. Or the moon. There it is. We'll just watch it slam into it here, and then that'll be the episode. Where will we hit? Goodbye, delivery vessel. Oh, it's slowed down when I got. It won't let me time warp any faster. There we go. Went part of it. Well, we got debris all over the place. Oh well. So that wraps up this episode. Thanks for watching. If you want to follow my progress, remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you for episode 15.